All right, so let's say that you want to include an open-ended question in your course. In this case, this is, let's say, a course about forklift safety, and we have this open-ended question, what should you do and why is it important? And so the learner could put in, look both ways and cross slowly. But how would you score that? So by using the AI that is built into the upcoming version of Chrome, we can actually evaluate the learner's response and provide a score. And just to show that, that this is working, if I go to the tip here, we can see the answer that it's looking for is quite long, saying that we should look both ways, look them in the eye, don't use your phone. So let's see, knowing all that, if I could score better than a 45. So if I include a bit more stuff like look them in the eye, stay off my phone, watch for lane markings, wear PPE, let's see if I score any better. I got a 60 that time. So let's talk about how we're doing this. First off, we're using Chrome's built-in AI. So this is coming down the road. It hasn't been finalized yet, but it's a new feature that they are looking at adding. And so they're building Gemini Nano into the browser, so you don't even need to go out to the internet. So the learner response never leaves their browser. We're staying local in the internet. Off the internet, I mean. We can even do it offline completely. And so you're not going to be able to test this yet because you got to get in on the early preview and join the origin trials, and there's a bunch of hoops you got to jump through to start testing the next version of Chrome with the AI built in. But let's take a look now at the storyline course real quick. And we'll see that it's set up pretty straightforward here. I have a couple of storyline variables that I'm using to pass data back into, and I have the learner input here. And so the learner input is coming from this slide. They type in their learner input, they hit submit. That goes to this slide where we run some JavaScript, and then when the AI is done, we advance to this slide where we display all the information there. So let me jump back here. So as I said, we run the JavaScript, and then I have a trigger here as well to jump to that next slide when the value of one of those variables changes in there. So let's take a look at the JavaScript. You're going to be amazed at how simple this is. Now this looks like a lot here. Let me show it actually in VS Code so it'll be a little easier to understand. It looks like a lot, but really the majority of all this is just the instructions to the AI. You could probably pare it down. You could probably move the instructions into Storyline, but just for the demo, this is what I did here. So we're giving the AI agent some instructions. We tell it to take a look at this content, make sure it understands what we're looking for. We want it to evaluate the question that's provided. And that is the same question that the learner answered. Then we're asking the AI to evaluate the learner's response. So compare it to the content that was up above there and evaluate it on these metrics. And we're asking it to respond in a JSON format, which it kind of does most of the time. We'll take a look at that in a second. And then we give it some scoring criteria, just letting it know where this should fall points-wise, and an example JSON of the format we want it to reply in. Now we get into the storyline specific JavaScript here, where we're getting the player and we're getting what the learner typed in. Now this is the cool new built-in AI. This is the JavaScript API for it. And so we just call the AI language model and we tell it we want to create a new session, and we give it the system prompt. Now that system prompt is all those instructions that we just saw up above there. It's going to pass that session on to the next part of the promise chain here. And first we check to make sure we actually did get a session. And if not, then we throw an error. If we got the session, then we're going to prompt the session. It's already been preloaded with its instructions. And so now we just need to tell it, oh, hey, this is what the learner responded to the question. So now it's going to run that. It's going to run all those instructions that we gave it. And it's going to spit out, hopefully, a JSON. And this is where I was saying, you know, sometimes it's not perfect on that. So some things to look out for is it might try to reply in Markdown. And Markdown is usually preceded with those little back ticks. It might also announce that it's a JSON. It might say the JSON is. So we're just here trying to filter out some of those common errors that we might get rather than a JSON. Now that we think we might have a JSON, or text representing a JSON, we parse that out and we use that to set the score, evaluation, and the reasoning for that score and evaluation. So that's going to set those storyline variables. And as you recall, I have a trigger that says when the evaluation variable changes, go ahead and jump to the next slide. So let's see it all in action one more time. Try again. Yell, hey, look out. Submit. I don't think I'm going to score very well. Nope, I got a 0 on that. There, no credit. So, pretty cool stuff coming down the road. AI in the browser without having to leave the local system.